this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Get It Right Texoma with the Texoma Trio. Mike Hendren, Terry McAdams, Trey Serralo. We welcome you to the program once again. Thank you for being with us. We are here with a mission to inform and entertain our audience. We do focus on local events and news and happenings, and we also throw in some regional and some national and some state news from time to time as needed, of course, and we give you our opinions on the news of the day as well. So we try to also have some interesting guests from time to time. In fact, we were just talking about our guest list coming up going forward, and we've got quite a few guests that you're going to want to see and hear over the next several weeks.
I would say a murderer's row of movers and shakers in the area.
Murderer's row? Okay.
Listen to him.
That's actually a good, murderer's row could be a good thing when you're talking about this. So,
I've just never heard that term, but okay. I'm with you.
All right.
I support you.
Love it. But we do have a slate of really interesting guests coming up over the next several weeks. Matter of fact, we've got guests booked into November now.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
So we're pushing ahead here. This is evolving into a really, really good program, I think, and we hope you think that as well. So thanks for giving us your time and taking time to listen to us. If you're seeing us, you're watching on YouTube, you know that already. But you can also get us on Spotify and Apple Podcast as well. So please share this on all your social media platforms. Let everybody know about it. Visit our website, getitrighttexoma.com. You can also find us on Facebook, obviously, as well. And we do hope you'll like and share our Facebook page and comment. Let us know how you feel about the show. It is being brought to you in part by our friends at Eddie Hill's Fun Cycles, 401 North Scott, downtown Wichita Falls since 1966. EddieHillsFunCycles.com. MacTech Solutions, 4020 Ray Road, Suite 3B, MacTech-Solutions.com. We record this podcast in the MacTech Solutions podcast studios, as a matter of fact. So if you're in the market for a new computer, I highly recommend a MacBook Pro, personally, because that's what I got. But, hey, they can fix you up with almost anything that works for you.
I thought you would have a MacBook Amateur. I didn't think you would have all the way up to the Pro.
Well, I got coached up. I got coached up.
Makes you feel good.
I got coached up.
Pro.
Yeah.
A MacBook Junior.
Well, then what's a MacBook Air? If that's the case, are you a little airy?
Yeah.
No, that does. No, we have actually smart people who use all of them.
Yes,
right.
Yes. And each device has its own special niche, I guess.
Yeah, what your price point and
what you need to do is you need to see an expert like the ones at MacTech Solutions to find out which one fits your best needs.
Right there. There's your expert.
Yeah, don't bang around on the internet and go, I think, or, Goober from Walla Walla, Washington says this one's the best. You don't know Goober. You do know Terry and his staff.
Yeah.
Come and get some professional advice.
Yeah, and you can walk in here and get live advice.
That's right.
From real people who actually want to help you.
Not a virtualized robot or anything.
And if you got a sweet tooth, check out Lolly and Pop Sweet Shop. Online at lpsweet.com. On Facebook, Lolly and Pops. That's Lollie, Lolly and Pops Sweet Shop on Facebook as well.
Pops.
Yes, I'm the Pops half of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wish it looked better. Anyway,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
The cowboy hat makes it all.
Yeah. Well, it keeps the light from reflecting off what's left of my hair. Anyway, here let's see what we got coming up here. We got Kevin Fowler is going to be performing at the Warehouse on Friday, July the 26th. That's just coming up right around the corner here from today. 8 o'clock. Wichita. It's going to benefit the Wichita Falls Area Community Foundation's Volunteer Fire Department Fund. Boy, it's a mouthful.
And it's a huge fund, and I believe it's like, I want to say it's 20-something counties.
I believe it is.
It's a large fund. It's not like it's going to go to, like, this fire department's going to get this and this fire department gets this. I believe that this fund, I'm correct. I believe this is correct. I saw an interview about it. I believe what they do is this fund gathers all this money, and then local fire departments or all the fire departments that are inside their catchment area can apply for like a grant. Mm-hmm. We need a new engine, or we need a new hose, or we need a new nozzle end, or we need a new Dalmatian, or whatever the hell they need.
Do fire departments even use them?
I don't think so. I don't know if they ever used them, but that was just a symbol. But whatever it is, and I believe they file to get like basically a grant from this fund.
That's great.
But this is going to be a event here.
Yeah.
Kevin Fowler is a big name.
Oh yeah. Kevin puts on a great show. I've seen him perform in person 3 or 4 times, and have had the privilege of introducing him on stage a couple times too. So he does a really great job. It's going to be a fantastic show, and it's going to benefit a great group of men and women. Volunteer. Most fire departments around the country are volunteer.
That's correct.
Most are. And so they have to go into their own pockets oftentimes individually to buy equipment or supplies, things that they need to do their job. So this is fantastic that we can have a fundraiser this big to support that many volunteer fire departments in our area.
That being said, especially if you live in this area here, there are a lot of volunteer fire departments in the Texoma area.
Goodness.
And so if you have a fire department that's close to you somewhere, and they're putting on a
chili cook-off,
a dinner feed, a fish fry, chili cook-off or something. Go by there and toss them some money. Even if you don't even want to get the food, go get a donation. It just helps. Even a $10 donation, a $20 donation, all of that helps.
Our Jolly Volunteer Fire Department does a chili cook. I'd say a cook-off, but
they do a chili
feed.
They also do a fish fry every year as well.
Really?
And then
who says no to a fish fry? Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you say no to a fish fry?
Well, but even if you're in a hurry and if you've already got dinner plans and whatever, stop by and just throw them a couple of ducats there.
You drive by, you toss them a couple of 20s, they toss you some fillets.
My wife
they can throw it like they do at the fishmongers do in Seattle.
Yeah, my wife has an idea for fundraisers for volunteer fire departments. I think she believes that if the volunteer firemen, fire people, fire persons, whatever they were to, I guess you probably wouldn't have a woman volunteer do this, but they want do a calendar and take pictures with their shirts off. And suspenders. No, for the guy. No, I'm just saying.
I think that's kind of passe, to be honest with you.
No, but I'm just saying that's what she really and there might be something to that, or at least
there might be, but
first because women will buy.
I know a lot of volunteer fire department firemen, and that's I still think that calendar thing. I just don't even see that with the bikini models and all that sort of stuff. I just don't think. I think that's kind of passe.
Well, I don't know.
I really do.
She's kind of has well, anyway. But even if they're not the buff people, they don't. That's not what a lot of women really care that much about. But anyway, just a little aside.
Most of them are going to have more. What do they call it now? Dad bods? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, there you go. So
that's going to be more what you find right there. Right. We got a gun show coming up July 27th and 28th. The gun show.
Yes.
The gun show. It's going to be at the MPEC again, I'm assuming, is where they're going to have it once again. July 27th and 28th, that would be a Saturday, Sunday. And usually opens around 9 a.m. on Saturday and
about 11 or so.
11 or so on Sunday.
Yeah, just check their Facebook page or website and see. But this is the gun show that's been around for many, many years.
Many years. Long time. So that's going to be the 27th and 28th at the Wichita Falls Multi-Purpose Event Center. The Ray Clymer Exhibit Hall is where they normally have it.
Yeah, and don't you dare miss it.
It usually it takes up a bunch of space over there.
And there's a lot to it. It's not just guns. It's guns, ammunition. There's a lot of there's coins usually there, food vendors.
A lot.
Arts and crafts. There's a lot to it. So there's more to guns. Joe Tom White famously used to say there's a lot more to than guns at a gun show.
Yeah.
And it's actually a gun and knife show, I believe.
It really is. Yeah, that's kind of how they've built it for years, and it still is. But and I don't know, probably there used to be a lot of custom knife makers around, and I know a couple, but a lot of those guys aren't with us anymore.
Yeah, I have one from LJ Lay for that. My dad got me got a custom skinny knife. But he had LJ Lay. I think he was out of Burke, when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure Mr. Lay's been gone for a while because he was not a young man then. But.
It's becoming. I hate to call it a lost art, but I think it is becoming a bit of a lost art, and it is an art. It is an art form. Being able to make a knife and.
Well, our friend Dan Shores, he still does it a little bit.
Dan still does it. Dan's still doing silver work, bits and spurs and buckles and things like that. Of course, his bits and spurs are world famous. I mean,
and you'll be able to see some of that at the next Cowboy True. When is that?
Don't know yet.
Okay,
we'll have some more on that later.
Okay,
yeah, We'll have some more on that later. Do we want to do the local restaurant?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that. So we had this feature we came up with. Trey, it was Trey's idea to let's find some local eateries, some local restaurants, truly local, that are owned by families in this area, and focus on them and give them a little bit of a push here, because we've had a lot of there's been a lot of places closed down. In recent weeks and months, and a lot of that's been national branded stuff, big national brands that have seen multiple locations across the country shut down.
Right.
But we want to give a little push to some of our local folks, and this week it's Gutierrez Mexican Restaurant.
That's right.
That we're talking about. It's right around the corner from your
yes, it is
your
on
shop.
Martin Luther King Drive or East Side Drive. If you've been around Wichita Falls for a long time, it's really close to the corner of Lincoln and Martin Luther King.
Yes.
And if you go from Scott Street to North Scott Street down Lincoln, and you hit the light at Martin Luther King, and if you look to your left, it's there. You can't. Stevie Wonder couldn't miss it. It's a big pink building. I mean, it's or orange and pink and stuff. It's
very colorful.
Colorful, yeah. It looks like a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah. And breakfast burritos, man.
Oh my goodness, the breakfast burritos are massive. It's all of it's good. Here's a tip.
You can hurt yourself.
If you don't want that much food, you could get the breakfast tacos. And they got the same ingredients as the burritos and that sort of thing. You can get whatever you want in it. It's, you just pick, hey, I want this, I want this.
A smaller portion.
They'll make it whatever it is, and it's just a smaller portion. They don't wrap it all the way up. They just put it in a taco. So breakfast tacos. You get 2 breakfast tacos, and that is a huge meal without a burrito having your friend help you.
I will tell you from personal experience, if you do go with the burrito and you can't finish it all, cut that bad boy in half, eat half of it, wrap the other half up in foil, put it in the refrigerator. You can warm it up the next day. You got to warm it up slow in the oven. Don't put it in a microwave.
Or the air fryer.
Air fryer works great, but heat it up slow, and it's as good the second day as it was the first day.
As long as you don't have guacamole or sour cream on it.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's true.
I mean, you got to be careful what you have on it. But yes, as long as everything you have is a solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get the guac and the sour cream on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that on a breakfast burrito, but on a regular burrito,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, yeah. They'll throw whatever you want on there.
Well, they would. But
And by the way, they've got red sauce and green sauce. I prefer the green sauce.
Yeah.
It is a little warmer.
It is.
But it is really good.
Yeah.
But Gutierrez, they've been there for a long time, family owned and operated.
Yeah.
And it's just a great place to eat. Really nice family, really good people. And they make tamales around Christmas time. Oh my goodness, their tamales are fat. I mean, they are not little skinny that you get at the grocery store and throw them get them out of the freezer and stuff like that. They are big, round. They are full tamales. It's not like it's a whole bunch of masa with just a little bit of meat. The masa to meat ratio is great.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
And they sell them by the truckload, man.
yeah,
around
absolutely.
Christmas time.
Oh yeah, you better get in early.
I was gonna say you might want to start ordering those around Thanksgiving.
Get your order placed early.
Make sure you get your order in.
So.
So again, that's
Gutierrez
good
Mexican
deal.
Restaurant.
Yeah.
Great place to do. Great business. They're not open at dinner. They're only breakfast and lunch.
Breakfast to lunch, yeah.
Apparently are closed on Tuesdays.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so I didn't know that.
You gotta take one day off.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
You gotta take
all
one
right,
day off.
That's
Yeah, so don't go today.
Guys, I guess you could say it's
Is that it? Oh, we're done?
no.
Is there nothing else to talk about?
that's
Nothing
it,
else in the news?
Nothing
important?
happened on Saturday.
So the 800-pound gorilla in the room is.
Thanks a lot, Mike. I appreciate it. I'm not quite that big, but
See, this is what I get right here. Anyway, the attempted assassination of President Donald Trump.
that was a for real deal, folks. This was very serious.
So you had okay. I'm going to start here. Was it a Secret Service failure? Was it a colossal failure that a guy was able? And by the way, they knew there were law enforcement people and witnesses for almost 30 minutes who knew this guy was on this rooftop. About 400 feet away.
Is that 30 minutes? Is that documented yet?
I have seen it published in 3 different places so far.
Yeah, I don't know.
26 minutes is the number I keep seeing.
Yeah, I'm not sure about anything till we see it, but I do.
26 minutes.
I've heard a lot of people say that they pointed it out. I heard a story this morning that said that apparently a law enforcement officer went up the ladder to the roof, and the gunman trained the gun on it, and he went back down. Is what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, here's what I know. For at least a few minutes, they knew the guy was there. He was roughly 400 feet away on a rooftop with a rifle pointed at the former president of the United States, and the now Republican candidate for the presidency this year. If Donald Trump had not turned his head to the right slightly,
he'd have gotten it
when that bullet was fired, it probably would have killed him.
Probably so.
We would not have been having the Republican National Convention this week. They would have been planning a state funeral for a former president.
Yeah, this whole conversation would be different.
This would be a totally different conversation. That's right. Yeah. Totally. So I think someone within the Secret Service, and I'm going to guess probably the director, is going to have to fall on a sword. Because you cannot have this was almost a murder. This was almost an assassination. This was almost another JFK. This was almost another RFK. This was almost another assassination. Period. Yeah. And in the last in our in our lifetime, since we've been alive, okay, Terry's a couple years older than we are. You were probably a boy when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated.
What year?
68.
Yeah, I would have been 3. Yeah,
68.
Almost 3.
Before we were.
RFK was assassinated, I believe, the same year.
Yep.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Which, by the way, Robert F. Kennedy, his son Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been refused Secret Service protection.
It's actually been granted now.
It has been granted.
Yeah, Biden orders it to protect him after.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay. Good. Well. And this is what I don't understand.
But it took this for that to happen.
Yeah. His uncle and his father were both murdered by assassins.
Well, to me, I don't make that correlation. They were murdered by assassins years ago. That wouldn't make that this guy's getting murdered by assassin. I think it's just because he's a presidential candidate.
Yes,
I don't think that means. I don't think that has any bearing on it.
But
because it happened a bunch of years ago. Because everybody who was involved in is dead.
I have to disagree though. But I think you have copycats. You have people who fixate on these bad actors, and somehow they want to emulate what they saw. And we don't know if that was the case with Trump's would-be assassin or not. We don't know if that was the case with him or not. We'll never know at this point. But what we do know here is that there was a colossal failure somewhere. Okay, you've got a former president giving a speech in front of thousands of people. The Secret Service, there should have been a 1,000-yard, I think, personally, a 1,000-yard perimeter sweep. You should have known every single thing that was happening within 1,000 yards of that president.
Or if nothing else, you have a building that's within 150 yards, 160 yards, put a cop up on the roof of the building just to stand up there. The fact is, that is not a long shot with a good scope.
No.
But an AR-15 or an
look at what he was successful
he was successful.
Extent. He actually made contact.
It was just Trump's dumb luck that he had his head turned the wrong way.
Yes.
The guy. You're all right. The guy was successful. He did fire a gun. He did hit Donald Trump on the head.
Right.
Yes, he did.
He just happened to hit him at the wrong angle for what he expected to hit him at.
He wounded 2 other individuals who were at last report they were in stable condition, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a 3rd individual who was killed, I believe a 50-year-old man. He was protecting his daughter, and he was killed. The nephew of Congressman Ronnie Jackson was there.
Yeah,
he was also wounded. Now, I am told he's fine, he's okay. A bullet grazed his neck.
Was it a bullet or was it shrapnel?
I don't know. I was told it was a bullet.
Yeah.
It could have been shrapnel. It grazed his neck. He suffered I guess basically a superficial wound as a result, and was treated and released, and he's okay. But you look,
you talk about dumb luck, guys. I mean,
430 feet.
Yeah, that's honestly not a hard shot, and plus you're shooting into a crowd of people. I mean, yes, the guy was targeting Trump. He wasn't just shooting into the crowd, but you got what 7 bullets is what they're saying. They think 7 bullets that are flying towards a crowd of people out of a high-powered rifle.
You're talking football and a half distance.
Yeah,
football field and a half distance.
Yeah, and for a gun like that, that's nothing. The Secret Service snipers are trained out to 1,000 yards.
Right. This is what I want to know, though. How the hell did anybody get on that building that close and allegedly
They miss him.
Allegedly,
They shot him.
No, I know.
Oh, how did they not see him ahead of time?
Right.
Right. Allegedly, he had been spotted up to 26 minutes earlier, and there were people that were reporting to law enforcement on the ground, hey, there's a guy on that building over there. Something doesn't look right. There's somebody on that building. And nobody did a damn thing until President Trump had already been wounded. Then they took him out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And kudos to the Secret Service agent who took him out. Looks like he got a really good headshot on him.
Yeah.
But one way or another, this was damned close.
It was just luck. It was purely luck.
Guys, I'll tell you right now, there are people right now today that are people within the Republican Party that are calling on Donald Trump, get him in a bunker and keep him there until this election.
He's not going to do it.
He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. But now there's a bit of panic that's set in here. It's like they've tried. Someone tried this once. Will they try it again? And of course, there's a conspiracy theory every 10 feet about this.
Well, yeah, that was right off the bat.
I really think what probably happened here is you got a nutcase who went off the rails and decided, I'm going to try. But let me ask you guys this. Has the Democratic Party's rhetoric about Donald Trump fueled this?
And I've said this from the beginning. I think that rhetoric, and it's not just the Democratic Party, by the way, because Republicans have pulled some of it too. I think rhetoric makes it worse, but you cannot blame anybody but the person who pulled the trigger.
Agreed. Yeah. Ultimately, the person responsible is the one who committed the act.
I think both of them going back and forth. I think the politics has been ramped up so high, and unfortunately, when you have people that are saying existential threats and things like that, you have weak-minded people out there. And now I'm not blaming Joe Biden for this happening, because Joe Biden didn't order this to happen. This guy went on his own and did something stupid. But if you hear and you're pumped into, hey, this guy, it'll ruin, if he gets elected, it'll ruin democracy. He's the same as Hitler. He's a bada.
Yes.
When you do all that, it does create more tenseness.
Well, and it's not just the party itself, though, that's doing it, guys. The media. Look what people in the media have been saying. Yeah. They've been regurgitating this garbage over and over for years now.
Well, and it also goes to show what bullshit these people believe, because honestly, if you truly believed in your heart that this guy was an existential threat and was Hitler, you would not be sorry that the guy missed. But Joe Biden is saying, whoa, I'm glad he's okay. Well, hang on, Joe Biden. If you really believe that this guy was the same as Hitler, if you truly believe that in your heart, you would not be happy that this guy missed.
Yeah. Well, there are some that have reacted that way, but
I know there's some.
I'm just saying, yeah.
But there's a lot of people that are walking it back that are not going, good, now somebody else go after him. There's some idiots that are doing it, but most people, but that goes to show you that they're full of shit. They don't believe their rhetoric.
Who has, that's a good question. Do you remember specifically some high-profile individuals that have said those things, like he's Hitler or
Joy Reid, everybody on The View.
Okay. So
who's the short-haired lady on MSNBC or CNBC? Crap, I just lost her name.
Morrow?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the short-haired lady.
Yeah.
Or George Clooney. I mean, where are all these people?
Keith Olbermann.
Yeah, Keith Olbermann. I mean, there's a lot of people out there.
Right, but is anybody going to ask them like what your point is? It's like
No.
you said that he was.
No, because
you know,
nobody's got the balls
so
to do it.
I read yesterday. Now we're recording this on Tuesday, so the Tuesday right after the assassination attempt. I read that yesterday they actually pulled Morning Joe off of MSNBC because they apparently there was concern over how panelists and guests were going to react.
Yes.
They didn't want to say something inappropriate.
Yep.
They didn't. Yeah. Okay. So you're so concerned. You know that the people that are on your show or are potentially going to be guests on your show
on your air,
are going to say something that's going to be highly inappropriate about this. Really?
Well, it wasn't Morning Joe that made the decision. It was the company
executives.
The executives.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. You have these two people that you give them a show and pay them, and you're so worried that they're going to say something inappropriate. You pull them up there. And let me tell you another thing. There's a couple more thoughts I had.
Okay.
One, I totally agree with you. It does look like this was a massive failure at the planning stage.
Oh, terrible.
Number two, when you go to Secret Service agents, the ones that are close to the president, their job is to protect. Their job is to shield the president with their bodies. That's what we've always been told. Now, there was some pretty good-sized guys there, but there was also a couple of people that weren't very big there that were part of that presidential detail. Why?
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Look, if your job is to protect, if we had this group right here and they said the president, whomever, is going to come in and it's your job to protect them, Mike and I ought to go, hey, can we get somebody other than Terry? Terry's a great dude, but when we're talking about just putting physical mass in shields, I want some guys that played, junior varsity football and stuff like that, or wrestled in the 265-pound division and things like that.
Right.
We don't need diminutive people out there that are part of the body shield.
Right.
We need big dudes.
Donald Trump is a big guy. He's 6'3". I'm going to guess he's probably at least 250.
Yeah, but
260.
But
he's a big dude.
But Joe Biden's slender, but he's a tall man. He still's like 6'2".
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. You don't need a 5'8" person out there.
Yeah.
Trying to body shield a 6'2" person.
No.
It doesn't work.
You need
Will
somebody that
Chamberlain
can
out
at
there
least
or something.
match them or exceed them in height.
Exactly. And some girth.
Big guys, big heavy guys, and also I don't just want anybody out there. I want the guy who was the best cop, the best Navy SEAL, the best Army Ranger. I want the guy that was that fearless dude
that really literally has a history of running to the boat, running to the gunfire,
running into the danger.
Yeah.
I want those guys. That's who I want. If I'm the president, that's who I want protecting me. I want the guys who are not only not afraid to get hurt, but are willing to get hurt.
Yeah,
if need be, to protect me.
Well, that's supposedly what their job is.
That's
supposedly what they signed up for.
It is, but I think there are allegations that DEI.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Has infected the Secret Service to the point now where we have. Well, the lady that's in charge of the Secret Service was like the head of security for PepsiCo or something.
Oh, I don't know, but I believe now. You can check me on this, Terry, but I believe that she has made a proclamation, and I want to say 30% was a number that she wants the Secret Service to have 30% female agents by a certain year model, a certain year time.
No.
Look, I'm fine if you've got some females that are capable of doing it. There are some tough women out there. That's fine. I have no problem with a woman being part of the Secret Service detail, but I don't want a 5'7", 125-pound woman out there. We want a Kayla Harrison out there who's Olympic judo gold medalist.
I guess if the woman is built like she looks like she could take on Hulk Hogan in the WWE or whatever.
We need China out there. Remember that wrestler lady China for a while?
Yeah, big buff chick.
Joni, whatever her name, Joni Lara or whatever. Yeah, I mean there are women out there who could do that job, and I'm fine with that. But let's when you talk about body shielding,
right?
We're talking about you have to have a certain physical size to shield another human being.
Well, but also
Terry cannot shield me.
But it also it's a mentality also.
But it's a mentality as well.
It's the physical size, but also a willingness, as we said, to run into the danger.
There are people of all stripes that have that willingness. Gender has nothing to do with it. But I'm just talking about it from a physical size. So that's one. Number two, why I go back to why did we not have the other? Number two, I got one more, three things. Number two, why was there not somebody on every roof that was within rifle distance? That's true. And number three, let me tell you something about the balls of Donald Trump. It takes balls to get shot or to even get shot at, even if he hadn't been hit, to stand up and put his fist in the air and say, fight. Let me tell you something. When you are involved in a life-threatening situation, and you know you're in a life-threatening situation, your adrenaline is pumping. And you do things and can do things and will do things that you wouldn't normally do because your adrenaline's pumping. You know you're in a fight. You know you're going to be in a gunfight, or you know you're going to be in a real fight for your life, okay? Donald Trump was standing there giving a speech. So 2 minutes before he stood up and did this, he didn't think he was about to be shot. His adrenaline was not fight mode. Mm-hmm. And for him to go down, compose himself, and then stand up and then do this, that is
in the moment, yeah.
That's a tough dude, man. Yeah. That is a tough guy.
We're talking about the Secret Service agents. What first thing that struck me is somebody is keeping a hold of his hat. I have no idea why that is even a thing.
Of his what?
His hat, his MAGA hat.
Okay.
I saw that the first time. I thought that was kind of weird. That it seems to be a priority. See, does he have it or does she have it?
You see the guy in the glasses? It's his height. That guy's his height, but the person who's next to him is not. It's a small.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Small female who's there.
Let's see. No, but seriously, that's after. Okay.
But.
Yeah, but anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
Well, before we wrap up here, I want to talk about he did announce his VP pick.
Yes,
and it's Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. In case you haven't already heard, guys, thoughts on this? What do you think? Is Vance the right pick?
Well, I was actually looking up something separate with earlier about. Comment about Hitler. Apparently, he's made, and I think that's
he did. He made one in 2016.
Yeah, about calling him America's Hitler. Here it is.
Yep.
So,
and he said he was wrong, and he said he was wrong after that. Vance made some comments, and by the way, that was a bad statement. You do not equate people to Hitler unless they're really Hitlerian.
Yeah,
and you have to prove it. You can't just say, I think he's going to be Hitler or whatever else.
Yeah.
By the way, push back on people. If you hear that bullshit, Hitler or evil, if you hear somebody say so-and-so is evil or so-and-so is Hitler or something, you push back on them immediately and say, give me proof.
Yeah, well, and it dilutes the real meaning of what was behind what Hitler actually did.
It was a horrible.
For you to call somebody Hitler is, in a very light-hearted way sometimes, or people say, grammar Nazi or something like that.
Or the soup Nazi or the grammar Nazi.
Right.
That's a different thing than saying they're like Hitler, equating them to Hitler.
But even then, certain company, you probably don't want to say that. You got to be sensitive to people you're around.
Sure,
and all that. But when you're talking about
you don't want to say at the temple, in other words.
Right. Yeah.
I'm serious.
The seriousness of politics in that situation, we're talking about a true, real candidate or president, former president, whatever, you're going to have, that just dilutes the real meaning behind it. And I think
J.D. Vance came from nothing. He grew up poor, in poverty, single mom, was raised by his mother and his grandparents. His mother was a drug addict. Guy went to the military to get himself out of that, like so many young men and women do that grow up in abject poverty.
Yeah.
And then put himself through law school. Didn't have a silver spoon in his mouth. Didn't have.
He probably took advantage of the VA benefits.
Yeah, the GI Bill. But that's putting yourself through because you don't get the GI Bill unless you go serve the time.
Right. But now, but the first thing I noticed, he's 39. Do you think in in this case, I don't know anything about him personally.
I got no problem with
that. No, okay.
I could have been president 39.
No, I know, but I'm not saying that's just the first thing I saw was he's 39.
I think it gives some appeal to a younger crowd.
Okay.
You got to be at least 35 to serve. So he's well old enough, but I think it appeals to a younger crowd. The Republican Party knows going forward. This is Donald Trump's last.
Exactly.
This is it. He'll serve one term, and that's it, and then he has to move on. They've got to have a strong candidate ready to step into the role of presidential candidate in 4 years. And I think they probably view J.D. Vance as their best prospect right now for this. Now, who's to say in 4 years that J.D. Vance even wants the job? You know, things can change, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Things can change. We've had lots of vice presidents throughout our nation's 248-year history, wherever we are now, that did not go on to become president, okay? So who's to say that in 4 years he'll even want the job?
One actually went on to become president and was never elected.
Yes.
Gerald Ford.
So, and by the way, Gerald Ford, there were 2 attempts on his life.
Yes.
Within days of one another.
Yeah.
Within days of one another. And I think he was actually hospitalized over one,
Might have been.
But that's another story. But J.D. Vance, I think they see him as their best option right now for a candidate that can be groomed into the role of presidential candidate in 4 years. And then, of course, a lot of it's going to depend on who he picks to be his running mate, too. I think having the right running mate does matter. Well, it does matter.
I think there's a couple of things here. Let's play politics for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I keep going back to, and we'll see what happens at the DNC, but I'm telling you, I still think there's a possibility the Democrats are going to raise a white flag right now and just let Joe Biden run and not put any political stink or ruin any politics on any of their upcoming candidates. Mm-hmm. I think there's some strategy here with the RNC. You put Vance in there. Mm-hmm. Vance is young, and he's had some prospects. But what you do is you leave your Tim Scott and your Marco Rubio's on the bench. Mm-hmm. So if Vance gets in and doesn't excel, or Trump doesn't have a good presidency or anything like that, you haven't ruined Scott and Rubio, who I think are 2 of your other big superstars coming up in the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's 2 strategies here. Trump can do great, Vance can do great, and then Vance can run in and we can move one of these other guys in. They're still fairly young.
Yeah.
Or Trump fails, Vance fails. Now we've got 2 guys over here on our bench that don't have any political mud on them.
Well, and to that to that extent, I'm going to say this: Marco Rubio already has great name recognition in the public eye. Tim Scott does not have so much.
I disagree with you. I think he does.
I think Tim Scott's got 2 things working against him here. He's got the most vanilla name you can have, Tim Scott.
I agree.
You got 2 first names, for crying out loud. Second of all, I don't think he's had enough national exposure. I think if you go to the West Coast right now and you polled 1,000 people and said, do you know who Tim Scott is? You might find 300 who know.
I think every Republican's going to.
Yeah, but could they pick him out of a lineup? Would they know him if they hit him in the street?
Don't know for sure, but I think they know who he is.
And I think in today's day and age, in the digital age, in the internet age, visual is very important. Your face and your name have got to be known. You've got to be identifiable. Here's what I think would help Tim Scott tremendously. If Trump puts him in a cabinet position.
I totally agree with you. And I think there's a possibility that Rubio and Scott will serve in some cabinet positions.
If he puts Tim Scott in a cabinet position and Tim Scott can excel, I mean, really, if he can really shine, okay, in that position, whatever that may be, whatever cabinet position that may be, if he can really shine, then that buys him some more of that national recognition. That buys him both the name recognition and the visual recognition that he needs to be able to bank on in 4 years if he should decide himself to become a candidate for the Republican nomination.
I think so, but I believe. I mean, I've heard you say before you don't think Tim Scott has a lot of name recognition. I do think he does in the Republican Party. There's Democrats out there that are on the bench that none of us know who they are.
Oh, of course.
Because
of course.
we wouldn't recognize them because it's not in our wheelhouse.
Of course.
So I do think, I agree. Does he have massive recognition? I don't think he does, but I don't think Marco Rubio necessarily does either anymore. Maybe a little bit more, but not a ton. So they have plenty of time to build that. We'll see what happens. But I think that from a political strategy standpoint, I think there's don't know for sure. I mean, this is just a guess on my opinion or on my side. But I do think that Vance is a little bit of a strategic move to make sure you don't get Rubio and Scott enthralled in something that's going to hurt them in their political future.
That could very well be the strategy at work here.
And Vance is young enough. At 38 years old, say something happens or whatnot, you could possibly come back from it. Plus, I don't know. We'll see. And I do find it a little bit interesting his background. Considering Trump grew up wealthy. I mean, look, Trump's made billions and billions of dollars, but Trump started with millions.
Yes.
And this guy started with pennies.
Yeah.
He didn't even start with $1.
Yeah.
And you have both of those guys running. And so I think it's interesting.
Culturally, two totally different dynamics.
Yeah, he's from he's a hillbilly.
Yes.
And Trump's from Manhattan, or from Brooklyn, but he's from New York City. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and again, I mean, this is a strategy that could work very well for both of them. But I think you put Tim Scott in a cabinet position, and he really excels in that position, and really gets himself in front of the cameras more. He buys himself a lot of capital.
Same with Rubio.
Rubio too.
Or get those guys at least where they're vocal about the border and supporting the what we think would be the Trump's agenda.
Yeah. We'll see. Guys, we've ran a little long on this episode, and that's okay because we had a lot of good things to say, didn't we? Anyway, not to pat ourselves on the back there too much. This podcast brought to you by Eddie Hills Fun Cycles, 401 North Scott, downtown Wichita Falls, eddiehillsfuncycles.com. MacTech Solutions, 4020 Ray Road, Suite 3B, MacTech-Solutions.com, and Lolly and Pop's Sweet Shop, lpsweet.com, the website, and on Facebook at Lolly and Pop's Sweet Shop. So, thank you very much for joining us. Again, be sure to visit GetItRightTexoma.com, and be sure to like and share our Facebook page, and share this on all your social media platforms. Tell all your friends, your neighbors, the people you love, the people you hate, and somewhere in between.
Dog.
Yeah, cats, dogs, ferrets. I mean, whatever you got. Just share it with everybody. Guys, take care of yourselves. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you down the road.